What's happening, boys? We got a really special video today. We have Andy from Gerzy Bear Performance coming down to Canada to install their newest part for the J series, that being the billet aluminum intake manifold. And I've seen the prototype on Andy's car since before I even had my TL, and I used to think it was like an R35 manifold or something like that. It's always looked insane. So I'm super happy to get this going and super happy to be a part of this and work with Gerzy Bear on this. So Andy's actually on the way here right now. We're gonna get this thing installed today. A few of the boys might stop by and help film. Should be a pretty fun install. Now we got the right gear on. First things first, let's get a cold start on the golf cart. Get a cold start on the C63. Pretty quiet. Very quiet car. Just gotta go pick up some 20 gauge wire. Should be good after that. It's so hot out today, it's kind of unfortunate I don't have AC in the garage, but we'll get through it. Just got this thing all shined up. It's still kind of dirty though, can't lie. Look at these little suckers. Yeah, that'll do. Z's here now too. The Gerzy Mobile Plaid. That's crazy. Didn't know that was coming. This is Andy, CEO, owner of Gerzy Bear Performance.
One and only, yeah. Andy at Gerzy Bear, one-man show. Created a business about 12, 13 years ago. Started creating supercharger kits for the TL. A couple years later, 2017 timeframe, did the same thing for the 4th gen TL. So those are the two vehicles, because I personally own them, that are ground-up kit development. Get all the time people asking, oh, can you create one for a Civic with a J-swap? That's not really my bread and butter, but there is a DIY kit that's universal, so it's bracket blower, and then you can create the plate.
This guy's putting those on dune buggies too, right?
Yeah.
J-swap dune buggies is crazy.
I mean, some of my most happy customers are those that do it in the California dunes. You know?
Well, good to meet you.
Yeah.
When was this motor put in?
This motor was put in probably about 10 years ago. I sourced this motor, found it out in Ottawa, and it's actually a J35. I believe it was out of an
RL, right?
Yeah.
It's got the RL can.
Yeah, found that, low mileage, did the valve covers, painted the plans, did it all nice, dropped it in, and yeah.
It's got a Healy coil in it. Oh.
It does, yeah. I did fire a plug out of it.
We're just hearing bang. I was like, oh no way, he blew it up.
Obviously, I shot the one out that one time, but then another time I was driving down the road and I started to hear like, the same thing happened. It backed one right out and it launched the coil pack. I couldn't find the coil pack.
That's crazy.
I found the plug still sitting in there. The transmission's new as of 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
And that was pretty
And
low
that was
too,
low
right?
mileage. It was
Yeah.
35, 40,000 on it. I thought it was doing HVAC, that made me go bald. It was probably owning this car for 10
Nick gets it and it's been perfect.
It's amazing. The poly, everything, it's perfect.
Yeah,
You know?
we're gonna do an unboxing of the intake manifold system. Andy's gonna help me out because I have no idea what's in the box. Okay, what do we start with here? Probably shouldn't slam it. Okay, throttle body.
Throttle body number one.
What's the main thought behind going dual throttle body?
So that each plenum can get its own share of air. Going with something larger than stock is difficult, if not impossible, especially with a stock ECU setup, because the electronics in the car cannot supply enough amperage to drive one big throttle body, like one big 80 mil from Honda Acura. Wire these up electronically. Couldn't have two electronically driven one. That's why this is electronic, and there's a second one that's the sister throttle body that's driven mechanically.
This is mechanically driven sister throttle body. Alright, we got that hardware. That's a lot of hardware.
Yes. All stainless, aside from the throttle body bolts, which are flange bolts and don't come in stainless.
Okay.
Still stainless, yeah.
Got a first billet piece.
So those are the billet lower runners.
Wow.
So not modeled off of a stock port. It's an entirely ground up design. As you notice here from the top, they're oval shaped because that is the cross section of the pipe. So basically you have a perfectly round cone going straight up to the upper plenums.
Jeez.
So when you stack them, you'll see that.
That looks insane. It's too nice for this stuff.
One of the plenums.
That on there. That's tough.
Those look like it.
Yeah, this is crazy. I don't think I've ever had any billet anything
Yeah.
before, to be honest with you.
Your oil cap?
Yeah, maybe. One side. There we go.
Those are the plenum bases. Those are what connect the plenums that you just unboxed to the upper runners. So it all bolts together.
It's a good thing I didn't throw this one. I thought I didn't.
Depending on your engine model, you can flip plenums backwards, forwards, upside down. So you could have some crazy asymmetrical setup where one piece of piping is approaching from the passenger side of the car and then from the driver's side. Take a look at those trumpets when we're talking about how much gain in velocity you're going to have with the setup. You basically got a 2 3/4 inch top of the port necking down to 1 3/4.
That is insane. It's light too.
So a magnesium stock one, this is 3 to 4 pounds less.
That's
with
right.
the throttle bodies attached.
The rod for the system.
Yeah, that's probably the linking. Yep. Fuel rails.
Oh, those are pretty.
So this manifold system requires custom fuel rails from us. Can't use any other companies, and these are universal regardless which J series you have. So as long as you buy our intake manifold, these bolt right up, and you can use them however you want.
It's got to be pretty, right? Functional, but pretty.
Nice spread.
Yeah, that is.
You've got 1/2 inch hole. That tube connects each plenum to each other so that engine pulses can be shared. Every time a cylinder fires, a little bit of air pulses out that cylinder and needs to be shared across both banks.
It's a lot of stuff, but I feel like it's not like as intimidating as I, you know, sometimes think. No, this is pretty, man. This is crazy.
If you have a 3rd gen TL or maybe a 7th gen Accord and you need some piping, regardless if you're NA or boosted of any type, this piping will be available on the website as well. Actually, I have a couple more available to ship right now as we speak. This is a prefabricated piping, a split, so it takes single 3-inch to dual 3-inch for the dual throttle body and would connect up pretty close to a cold air intake.
Yeah.
You might have to extend it just a couple inches and put, you know, a K&N filter on it.
Yeah.
But this matches up perfectly to Gerzy Bear Performance Supercharger kits for the 3rd gen TL. And then optionally, if you don't want to figure out how to adapt your fuel system to those rails that are mandatory to run the intake manifold system, I do sell adaptation fuel fittings, fuel hose that's not pictured, and clamps to be able to clamp the hoses.
It's like the same height as stock, right?
Yeah.
The manifold height, yeah. So you don't need the hood spacers or anything, but recommend.
This guy's not a certified mechanic.
All I know how to do is install splitters.
We're gonna start the assembly on the intake manifold system.
We got O-rings for the upper bells for here, which you will slip on to these guys. So slip those on, and then we'll work on fastening the plenum base to the plenum, and then we'll make use of these because we'll be bolting them on from the backside.
I just want to go over the orientation of the manifold system. You're going to note that there are many ways to configure this. There's only one way to configure it properly for a TL, and it would be the orientation you're looking at right now. Key indicator is going to be the logos are going to be facing up on the front and back plenums. The EGR port on the lower runner is going to be facing the driver's side. For the plenum base, you're going to need the share tube holes facing the passenger side. So the orientation of these as well, you'll note that there's space on the plenum bases for the EGR. So this would be the front base, and this would be the rear side base.
They are unique parts because you'll notice that where the hole is drilled for the share tube, which gets inserted, the dimension is different between them. So you can't just accidentally flip front to rear on the TL. They need to be configured as shown. This is also important when it comes to the upper runners. They will mate properly. If you reverse them, the holes will not align. There's only one way to assemble. The length of O-rings is unique. So these are a matching pair, yes, but this is shorter for this surface. Matching and then unique.
We would put the O-rings on the upper runner. Definitely try and get some lubrication in there. Helps with assembly.
Getting ready to bolt up the plenum to the plenum base. We got to get our hardware prepped here. Lay this down. It kind of ensures you can look at it from a side profile and make sure everything's flat. And just start putting bolts in. These are all M6 bolts. These are M6 by 18, and the ones that attach here to the upper runners are by 16, not by 18.
We got the plenums attached to the plenum base. Put the gaskets in there. They're all tightened down.
We are going to put Loctite. Didn't do that yet.
And the step after that would be to attach them to the upper runners. We're going to put the share tube O-rings in the plenum bases, so you can just pop them in, and they have a little ridge here that you can insert them into. There we go. Lube up these O-rings a bit. That's a nice sound.
These are the shorter M16 bolts, so 16 millimeter long, not 18. They're in a separate bag.
I just want to show you guys how much this sinks in when you tighten it. So you're going to see it'll have a bit of a lip here, and this is going to sink in all the way.
And inside you can see how flush it is. The bell mouths sit perfectly flush. Look at the straight shot into the plenums. So that's the key to performance. Right?
Yeah.
Okay?
That's wild. I'm excited to see.
You can't see that on an OEM manifold.
No. We're going to toss the throttle bodies on. This will be your rear throttle body. It'll be in the normal position. Obviously, you're going to need gaskets in between them. Gaskets are supplied with the kit. And then we have the mating shaft. It'll key into each throttle body. For blade position, it's going to say FB. That's front bottom. Make sure it's like this. If it's like this, it's wrong.
This is a plug that is here to plug the factory map sensor location. You might ask why. It's because we have another hole on this one that is unplugged. It'll actually be in the downwards position, so the sensor will approach from the bottom, so it's fully hidden from view. So when you install it on your car, you might have to extend the wires a little bit. Other than that, it's just a factory map sensor that plugs right in.
You're going to use these zinc-plated bolts. There's going to be 8 of them. Make sure when you're installing these throttle bodies, just install them loose. So install both of them, put the shaft in, and get them aligned perfectly. So when you tighten them, flip the throttle bodies open, the helper spring returns them. If it doesn't return, then one or both of your throttle bodies are misaligned. Loosen all 8 bolts and realign them to the point where you can just let them go and they fold back closed. What? That one was missing. Is there one that goes there or not?
Probably, yeah. It appears someone worked on this and had a hell of a time putting her back.
God, I don't know who the hell owned this thing, but holy shit. When you get 3 separate legal owners standing within a foot of each other for one car.
Oily?
That's not bad.
Good. I've seen so much worse than that.
What's going on in here? That is not something you want spilled in your engine bay.
No.
Beer?
No,
That's stupid.
Oh,
Man. How do you feel?
I feel like my car stinks a little bit more than it did 10 seconds ago.
How do you feel?
Good.
now you really have the degrees.
What's going on, boys? Day 2 of the intake manifold system install. We're gonna get the rest of the OEM manifold out and get started. We just got the 4 bolts out, holding down the fuel rail, and we're just about to pop the injectors out. Make sure you have like a rag or something to catch any residual fuel that comes out. Got the rails out, injectors are out. We got the lower runners out. Now we're just working on getting these studs out. Take 2 nuts, flip one upside down, just like this, and put the other on top of it. And then you're gonna be able to back the studs right out. The Gerzy Bear manifold does not use these studs. They just use replacement bolts instead. You got one here, one here, one here, one here. Get those out and you should be good. Take a little bit of brake cleaner on a rag and wipe off the mating surface of the heads. Make sure everything's clean. There's gonna be O-rings going in there, so you wanna make sure there's a good seal.
These guide pins need to be removed because they'll get in the way of the flat mating surface.
So this is one of the dowels that came out. So you're just gonna wanna pinch one of these ends and just twist it out. Maybe spray some liquid wrench in there to work it out. It might pop out with the runners, but chances are you're gonna have one stuck in there. We're just installing the O-rings on the lower runners, 6 circular O-rings. Just press them in like the other ones. Then you're gonna throw this EGR gasket in over here. We're gonna drop it in. Make sure the EGR block off is facing the right way. So you're gonna use these 9 bolts, start to get these snug down. We got a good idea here. Just some painter's tape wrapped around the bolt. Since it's pretty far down there and it's gonna be hard to reach, especially if you drop it, just let it dangle like a fishing line and then put your Allen key on top of it. And then you can just rip the tape off after, so. Good tip. I just wanna show you guys down these ports here. It's pretty wild. It's a conical shaped runner that goes all the way up to a bell mouth.
So velocity increases a crazy amount as air gets closer and closer to the heads. Definitely a departure from an OEM runner. So this is what's known as an X-Ram intake.
That's quite a difference. We're gonna get started on the fuel rails. So you're gonna use these 4 bolts. Obviously you need the 2 rails. So you guys are gonna bolt them up right here.
We need to insert the injectors, which was an oversight, but we're just gonna plumb up the fuel system for now. Just do a rough fit.
So we got the fuel rails in. Injectors are in as well. Parky's got the briefcase. Alright guys, Andy's heading back to Ohio. We got the intake manifold plenum on. It's not bolted down right now, but we've got everything done underneath. We got the fuel rails in, injectors are in. He's got to take off because obviously he's got to get back home. Thank you again, man.
Oh, no problem, buddy.
Honestly, really appreciate it. It's been a super cool experience and excited to get you some data and finish this up. And
Yeah,
it'll be
help
cool.
some other people.
Yeah. Hopefully some of you guys. So I just wanted to show you guys this really quick. This rear crankcase vent, I had it vented to atmosphere. We're still gonna do that, but you have to take out this bung. I would hit it with some penetrating fluid and then put an adjustable wrench on it and just wiggle it out. It takes a while, like it feels like it's going nowhere, but it eventually comes out. You start seeing part of it come out. And then once that piece is out, you're gonna pop in the carbon fiber nylon elbow piece. So now I'm actually gonna test fit the upper plenum onto the runners here. First, I'm gonna put in this gasket. So obviously it comes with the kit. You're gonna put it over top of the runners, obviously. So when it compresses, you get a good seal. I'll show you what that looks like once you get it in, but same as all the other gaskets, same idea. Put some painter's tape over your fuel rails, just so you don't scratch them up, just when you're kind of mocking everything up. We got the gasket in there. So once you get this gasket in, you can actually put the upper plenum on. You're gonna use these 2 bolts here and these 6 bolts here. So these ones are obviously longer. These 2 bolts, they go in this hole here and this hole here, obviously because they don't have that height to them. The other 6 will go in these tall ones. I got this thing lightly tightened down. That is insane. That is insane. Just picture when the dual piping comes out here, and we have all the plastic back in, kind of hiding the ugly stuff. This is gonna look wild. In the kit, you're actually gonna have 2 different size couplers. These are gonna go between the intercooler piping, so they're just straight through. It'll be the same size for each. And then you're gonna have these ones, which are a reducer into the throttle body. So throttle body on the small side. I've got the bumper off. I'm just working on taking off the intercooler piping. I'm gonna take this pipe off here. Obviously, this is not gonna apply to you guys if you're NA, but if you're boosted and you have the Gerzy Bear kit, you're gonna have this pipe. It's just a couple hose clamps holding it in, and the intercooler follows in after that. So gonna have to reposition and probably gonna end up putting the blow-off valve somewhere around here. Might actually be able to get away with putting this pipe directly on where that one is right now, because I think it's a bit shorter, and I do have this elbow which I can use to kind of flex the pipe a bit. I could run 2 blow-off valves like Andy does, but there's no real purpose for me, especially because I'm only running 9 pounds. It would kind of be overkill. Boys, check this out. I don't know where I left you guys off last, but I got these 2 in. I took the original pipe that went to the singular throttle body. I took out this intercooler pipe. Obviously you can tell it's the old one, it's filthy. And all I did was replace it with that main pipe that came off the throttle body. You can see now the blow-off valve is up here. So the blow-off valve is right behind the headlight, and these are fully in. Like this, obviously it's not clamped down, but this coupler's in. I didn't even try and move the one off the intercooler. The original kit actually comes with this elbow coupler. So I'm pretty sure I can use that and just put that in here. And I don't even think we're gonna need any fab or anything. I think we're just good to go. We were thinking maybe that you might have to cut a section of the pipe out where the blow-off valve is and get a fabricator to just weld something in for you. I think you're just good to go right off the rip, which is crazy. So that kind of wasn't part of the plan, but I'm really happy that worked out. Anyways, can we just appreciate how insane this looks right now? This is just so crazy. All I have to do is extend some wires. I grabbed some hose, so I'm gonna extend the brake booster hose and the vacuum line. And then I have a hose right here for the booster reference line. Those will all go into the back here where we have our ports. So we have brake booster, IAT, boost reference, and vacuum. The front plugs completely unused right now. The openings on the runners are just plugged right now. We have plenty of options with this setup, which is crazy. Just a couple more things. Got to throw the belt back on the power steering pump, throw the battery in, extend the IAT sensor, get the throttle body cable up to the throttle body itself. We're just about to start soldering the connections here. So I've got the IAT sensor off. There's 3 wires here. I've got my wires cut here, so there's 3 here. Let's come from over here to the top of the plenum up here. So we've got the IAT sensor now. This is how long it is. Probably a bit overkill, but I didn't want it to be too short, and I figured worst case, I can just kind of zip tie it up. Obviously, I soldered it in, heat shrink around it, and then just kind of taped it up like a normal OEM loom. We've got the brake booster line extended. I've got that vacuum line extended over here too. Probably gonna have to cut this one down. I gotta tighten down all the AN lines for the fuel, and then I'm hoping that I have enough slack here for the throttle body cable. I pulled this harness open and pulled some of the loom back. I got the belt back on, power steering pulleys assembled. Just want to give you a quick update here. So I actually buttoned everything up, got the vacuum lines in. I actually had to extend the IAT sensor. So what I thought was the IAT sensor was actually the map sensor. And that goes under the slave throttle body. So everything's buttoned up. I need to cut the battery cover just because it doesn't fit over the new intake piping. I actually do need to trim this pipe. I'm just gonna cut a section here just to snug it up more because it doesn't fit in the bumper right now. I just cut off this much. Gonna throw the bumper on now and we should be good. Got the intercooler piping tightened down. I got the battery tray shaved down a bit. I gotta do a bit more deburring here and make it a bit smoother, but that looks good too. Let's have a look at this. Got the bumper back on. Fits with the intercooler piping. That's perfect. And we are done. This just looks insane though, man. Like, I actually can't get over how cool this looks. So I'm gonna talk to Derek right now, who's gonna be tuning the car, and we'll get a startup file ready for this thing. That is crazy, man. Who'd have thought in an Acura TL you'd see this? This is crazy, man. We're just getting started, boys. We are just getting started. All right, what's happening, boys? Finishing up editing this video right now. Let's go look at this thing again. So the car is completely together. We're actually just working through tuning revisions right now. So this is actually later than the first clip I filmed for the next video you guys are gonna see. That is insane. I still might do some cleaning up of the wiring here just because I pulled that harness open. A few things I just want to cover really quick. The strut bar actually does fit. It's done pretty badly, but I sprayed it black just because the gold was like a little in your face, especially with the silver here. Probably going to redo it again in like a nice black, or maybe even try and get it aluminum looking or something like that. This is actually the map sensor that I was talking about. So it plugs into this slave throttle body here underneath. It would be this port technically, but underneath here. That wire actually comes from this harness over here as well. IAT also comes from right here too. And then that's fed up back here. It's plugged into a bung on the rear plenum. So it's a 2-pin. I know I put some text on the screen, but the 3-pin that you guys saw me soldering was the map sensor. Battery's fully in there. And then fuse box, it's not even mounted right now. It just happens to be wedged in there really well. That's fine for the time being. I'll probably find a way to maybe just make a little bracket from here to here and just keep it there. Next video you guys are going to see is the tuning process. So first start, tuning revisions, all that stuff. I'm going to close this one off here because I'm sure it's probably the longest video I've ever made. I just want to thank Andy at Gerzy Bear Performance for wanting to work with me. I'm already filming the next video, so we'll have that one coming out pretty soon. See you in the next one.